Hey, it's James Cornett, also known as Cornfu. Um, there's a cricket. Somebody else pointed it out. Hey, yep, there it is. It's my buddy. I'm out in the garage, so I gotta wait for wintertime to kill it, and then it'll be, better sound. Anyway, um, so this week I picked up a challenge from 1000, not personally, but the challenge went out to the community, and basically it's 3 words: reaching new heights, and we're supposed to illustrate or draw something creative based on those 3 words, whatever our interpretation is. Super cool, super fun. I'm excited to get started on it. I've been watching 1000 now for a couple weeks. His videos are super entertaining, super humble, talented dude. He does a lot of painting, street art, paints on walls, travels all over to do it. He's got a store, sells shirts, everything. He paints on everything. If you haven't checked out his videos, they're like 20 minutes long. They're totally worth it. He does his own music. Super cool dude. So check him out. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this sucker, and I'll show you my process. Here, I've imported my sketch from a sketchbook into Photoshop, and I normally start with like a light pink magenta line. What I'm doing here is I'm digitally refining the sketch. I mean, I could have done this in the sketchbook. Just for me, it's easier just to get in here and just start going to town on it. At this point, it's supposed to look like 1000. It's kind of getting there. I'll go back later and kind of tweak positioning of the eyes and things like that to make it look more like him. Again, just kind of refining out the shapes, cleaning up the lines basically. Yeah, I love prompts. Just an easy way to get going, to get started on stuff. A lot of times you sit around like, well, what do I draw? And this is just a gimme. Like, hey, let's. I mean, that's why I think Inktober's so successful. Okay, so now I'm actually building the environment around him. 1000 tends to draw these like 3 little worm dudes. I don't know what they're called, but I decided to throw those in there. I've got his logo on the shoe. Hope that's not offensive. Branding, baby. So I'm throwing in some darks here near the bottom of him because this is a weird position, like kind of a foreshorten, like he's jumping forward. So I need to kind of establish that with some of the darkers in the bottom half of him. So yeah, if you notice, I like to jump around a lot. So the idea was to have the main subject blasting up, reaching new heights, using 2 aerosol cans. So since 1000 is a graffiti artist, I thought, hey, why not? So he also has colors that are kind of his default colors that he likes to use, and they're super awesome. So I kind of have those sampled up in the upper left corner. Here I'm building out the clouds, just trying to get a good shape. I want the spray from the cans to kind of wrap up around it and frame him in. I threw a squawking bird in there just because. Alright, so bird, throwing the lines down. At this point, the wing looks like hops. Maybe I wanted beer. So I think I go back and rework this wing, I'm not really sure. And here I'm struggling with trying to get the right angle of the bird foot. I wanted this to have kind of a loose graffiti feel, so I didn't want it to be like, this is my excuse for not being hyper anatomically correct. It's graffiti art. But I gave the bird a butthole too. Why? I don't know. Okay, so pretty close to having, the sketch all done. So now I'm going to go in and throw the inks in. Again, I'm using the Kyle Webster brushes. This is the Too Smooth to Be Forgotten ink brush. It's a little pixely looking up close, but I wanted something that had more of a hard edge than the soft anti-aliased edge. So I went with this one. And he's got like 1000 ink brushes, so some are real super sloppy, some are really clean. I wanted to go a little bit cleaner on this one because I wanted that illustrative line work. 1000, his artwork is awesome. He uses a lot of big bold colors, but he also has a lot of stuff that's illustrative with the lines. So kind of want to pay a little homage there. Messing around with the folds. Yeah, definitely didn't use the Andrew Loomis method with this structure, but that's okay. It was fun. Okay, working out his spray cans there. So this will go on for a little bit, just throwing the ink lines down. I'll go back in, thicken some up, clean some up, because I tend to get bored. So at first I'm throwing down real nice clean lines, and then I'm just kind of exploding lines. So, which means I got to go back and do twice the work. Yeah. Now, I was kind of under the gun for the day job. I had a lot of work I had to do this last week, so some of the stuff that I wanted to really go extra detail on, like the tread of the shoes, things like that, that kind of got sacrificed just because life kind of got in the way. In a perfect world, I would have spent, hours, maybe a day or two, working out all the little teeny details, things hidden in the clouds, little secret things in the, characters or whatever, and then put a lot of attention on textures and things like that. But some stuff had to fall by the wayside, so yeah. And you would have never known if I hadn't mentioned it. Feathers. I drew feathers last week too. I drew a lot of feathers. Well, not a lot, but I drew feathers. They're kind of fun to draw. Yeah, this wing's bothering me now as I look at it. So, with the 1000 challenge, you basically illustrate it, and if he likes what you did, he'll feature it, which is super cool. I'm hoping for that. So that'd be awesome. Okay, now I start throwing a kind of a moon in there. I was going to do a whole moon and do like this big like galaxy space kind of scene, but nah. I decided to go kind of more simplistic with a Mac the Knife looking moon. And of course, why would he not have a cigarette? He's got kind of like a chill, relaxed look. I might have been listening to some jazz at this point when I was drawing this out, because I was in this super down tempo mood. I think it was raining too. Super cool. I say super cool a lot, which I gotta work on that. I think I say a lot too. Super cool. All right, a little bit of treads on the shoes. Here I'm thickening up the lines, give it a little bit more substance. I personally don't like really super thin lined stuff. I mean, for hatching, yeah, but for actual structure, I do like that comic booky, thick look. Okay, now I'm going and I'm selecting kind of trapped pieces. And what I mean by trapped is when you draw a line and you connect it all the way and then you use a selection tool in Photoshop, you can click within an area and it'll select just that area. Then I'll go and I'll do select, modify, expand, and I'll expand it by like 1 or 2 pixels. Because if not, you get like a little thin anti-aliased white or blank area between the color and the black. I don't want that. I want it to be solid overlap. So here I'm laying in solid colors, and that'll be my base layer. Once I do that, then I'm going to go back in and start shading, all that fun stuff. If you've watched any of my videos, you kind of know the process that I go through. Now, as I'm working through this, I'm also problem solving. Like, as I'm looking at these black lines, they're just too black. Like, sometimes that works, but for this, it's just really, it's kind of killing it. So I'm going to go back and, all right, right now I'm messing with this guy. What I'll do is go back and make another layer that's color. I'll tuck that in, I'll nest it inside of the line layer, and then I'll use colors in there. So those colors will be trapped inside of those line layers. There's a couple of ways to do that in Photoshop. There's a little isolation block. It's on your layers palette. If you click it, it's like a little lock. What that does, it'll lock your layer. So if you're painting, it only paints whatever has pixels in that layer. That's really bad description of it. I don't know. Mess around with Photoshop, you'll figure it out. But here I'm laying in shadows. Right now they're kind of hard. I'll probably go, probably. I know how this turns out. I will go blend them in a little bit. At first I wanted to go with really hard shadows, like solid one color to another color, but looking at 1000's art, he does a lot of blending. So, granted, that's acrylic, but I wanted to kind of have the same look. Plagiarism, but not really, because it doesn't really look like his stuff, so I think I'm safe. Coloring into cans. Okay, so here I'm coloring in the lines, the matching the color. So if I have like the tealy blue skin, I will go and make a darker version of that to color in the lines around it. So it still stands out that it's linear, that it's illustrated in line, but it blends in a little bit more and it's not so harsh. I do the same thing with the clouds, and I'll go back a couple times in and change the colors. Like that background sky right now, that blue, it's not really working for me, but I'll come back to it. I like to jump around a lot of my paintings as well. I don't tend to stick in one area. If it's a super realistic portrait, I will. But even then, I like to jump around a little bit. I don't know if that's OCD or I'm just lack of discipline or whatever. I felt this bottom corner was a little light with substance, so I decided to add in some weird character. So this is not supposed to be anybody. He's got reverse mask. His face is open, everything else is covered. Alright. Yeah, so now I'm adding highlights in the clouds to give it a little bit more depth. Shut up, Cricket. I can't unhear it now. Thanks, Max. Yep, shading. Not a whole lot I can pontificate about on this. Lay some colors down, darken some, lighten some. Now, in comic book coloring, you can use color dodge. You can actually select a section and do like a gradient color dodge and do like a really burned out highlight. It's a cool technique to make stuff look shiny or glowy, but I don't want to get that kind of detailed into this. So, throwing in some shadows, a little bit of depth. Trying to decide if making 1000 blue was the right idea, or teal. Alright, bird. A little bit more shading there, blending. So for blending, there is, on the Kyle Webster brushes, if you hold down Shift B, you can toggle between brush, pencil, history brush, which I've never used, and then the blending brush. It's the brush with a little teardrop, water droplet, teardrop. Sometimes I have teardrops when I work with Adobe products, but no, water droplet. That's like a blending tool. And one of the ones that I like that Webster has is, it's like a thumbprint. There's two different ones, but it works just like your thumb. It's awesome. I use that one. It's kind of a crutch, honestly. I use it a lot. And I'm still at the stage where I'm deciding, do I want it to be really smooth or do I want it to have brush strokes? Like in my career, I don't know what kind of look. I kind of jump around a lot, so I think I need to do this a lot more before I kind of land on a style. Alright, so the shoes, start coloring those. I think I come back and change the color on these a little bit. Yeah. Okay, now we're doing the same thing on the right side with the highlighting of the orange spray clouds. Little blending action. Again, it's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of smearing, smudging, adding new colors, pulling it out. For me, this one was kind of quick only because it's monochromatic. Well, not really monochromatic, but I stuck with a limited color palette, so it saved me a little bit of time. And a lot of these colors I pick, I'm just kind of eyeballing and dragging the sliders. There's no rhyme or reason. Well, there's rhyme and reason, but there's no formula. Okay, so now I've put it back a gradient in the sky to give it a little bit more depth. And then I'm using another one of my little gimmicks. I find like a grungy brush, and I just smack a top layer with whatever color. I set it to like an overlay. That gives me a little bit of a texture. Gives a little bit more visual interest. Okay, again, smoking moon. Okay, and at the end of it, I throw some stars in there. That might have been overkill. I don't know, but it turned out okay. I think it looks like him if he were teal. But yeah, this was a fun project. Thank you for watching. If you guys get a chance, please check out his page. 1000's page is great. 1000art.com, I believe, is his art store. I'll have links below. Sells a ton of cool stuff. His videos, like I said, are very entertaining to watch. And the next time he does a word prompt, jump in, try it out, see if you can get your art up there. So, thanks again for watching.